YouTube in 3, 2... Hello, and thank you for joining me, Kevin Durham, on my channel for the Louis Prima Junior fundraiser, raising money for the Children's Hospice Richard House. I'm just going to briefly let you know how the call is going to go. So in a few moments, we'll hear from Jess from Richard's House, who will tell us a bit more about the charity and what we're actually raising funds for. Then we go straight over to Louis, and pretty much the entire the rest of the this content and video is a Q&A, an open Q&A with Louis. So you have your chance to put any question that you might have through to Louis. Now, to encourage you to part with your money to help the Children's Hospice, you will see in the top right hand corner, right there, is a QR code. If you scan that with your phone, that will take you to a Just Giving page, which will allow you to donate to the charity that we are donating money towards. But enough from me. Let's switch over to our charity rep, Jess from Richard's House, to tell us a bit more about the charity. Over to you, Jess.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Kevin. Well, thank you for having me here today and for raising money for Richard House Children's Hospice. We honestly cannot thank you enough. So just to give you a brief overview of who Richard House is and what we do. So we are a children's hospice and we are based in Durham in London, but we serve kind of like the whole of London and parts of Essex as well. And we do that in a number of ways. So we have our hospice building, which we have 5 beds, and our 6th room is our rainbow suite, which is our end of life room. But we also have our hospice at home care, which has grown significantly in lockdown and the pandemics. So essentially what happens is we take the care team and our services into the families' homes, and it enables the mum, dad, carer to have a little bit of time for themselves whilst knowing that their child is being well looked after. And similarly at the hospice, we offer kind of respite care and that end of life care. And what happens is the children come in and it allows the parents to have some time off and just to go and do like any shopping, housework, anything that they might not be able to do, because a lot of our children require 24-hour care. So as you can imagine, for the parents and carers, that's a really, really tough, and they're not having any time to themselves. But as well as that, we also offer a lot of other services. We offer kind of counselling from bereavement through to kind of general counselling for all of the family members. We have family groups and days out. So if our families want to go somewhere, they kind of put a request in and we try and make that happen. So like trips to the seaside. We have kind of our support groups for our mums so they can get together monthly and meet each other and just have that face-to-face contact with people who are going through a similar situation, because a lot of people find that the community don't necessarily understand what they're going through, but whereas Richard House is there for them and everyone kind of understands what's going on. And yeah, we have music therapy, we have art therapy, all different types of therapy that essentially enables our children to be able to show and express their feelings, because a lot of our children are non-verbal, so they're actually able through forms of music and art to kind of express themselves. And one story we had was actually one of our children said his first words during his music therapy. So these services are so vital. And each year we look after over 300 children and their families. So obviously a huge kind of amount of people who need our support, and it costs £4.2 million each year to keep us going. So lots of money, and I'm not going to lie, it's been very, very difficult in lockdown. We have been like severely financially impacted, and we're in a bit of a tricky situation at the moment that if we don't raise enough money, we'll have to kind of start withdrawing services, but that is kind of like the absolute last thing we want. So huge thank you to you, Kevin, and people like you who are able to help us. So it really, really does make a huge difference. Can't express how grateful we are.
Absolutely, my pleasure, Jess, and thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, once again, that's why we're all here today, to donate money and to raise money for Richard's House. Just another reminder, there's that QR code in the corner of the screen which will take you to the Just Giving page so you can make your donation. And also, the higher donation, then the bigger question you can ask Louis. And that's how it works. So, yeah, you can literally ask him anything. Yeah, within reason. And I'll say within reason. That should be kind of in brackets, because if you, donate enough, then I'll literally ask him anything. So, yeah, Louis, get ready for that. But, Jess, thank you once again. Feel free to stay on the call or leave and just watch the stream. And, thanks again. I would ask you just to go on mute while we go over to Louis.
Absolutely, of course, and I'll turn my camera off as well. Okay, fantastic. Thanks so much, everyone. Take care.
Cheers, Jess. So, Louis, over to you. Thank you so much again for joining us for this live stream. It is an absolute pleasure to have you on this call. How have you been, Louis? How was lockdown for you?
How you doing, Kevin? It's been tough at extremely tough at times, but we're coming out of it. Things are always looking up. You got to look at you got to look to the future and hope things are going to get back to normal. But it's been beyond difficult, to be honest. And I'm just looking forward to the world coming back to normal so that we can get back on the road like we used to be, and get our new album out and just get back on with life. It's been tough.
Got it. And has the world pretty much gone back to normal where you are now? Is it New Orleans you're in now?
I'm in New Orleans. Moved back here in the middle of the pandemic, actually. Coming up on 2 years. It's been we lifted the mask mandate in New Orleans proper right after Mardi Gras. We kind of knew that was going to happen. And for the states, yesterday they lifted the mask mandate on transportation, so airplanes and buses and trains. We don't have to wear masks anymore. So we're slowly getting back to normal. It's still, it depends on where you go, though. Some cities, the cities are able to do what they want versus the state. Venues are able to do what they want versus the state. So we're a long way from being where we want to be. But it's nice to be able to get back to some semblance of normalcy, though.
Yeah, sure. And what we like kind of during the tail end of the pandemic with masks. I had a lot of friends and they were just very anti-mask. I had one friend in particular who just wouldn't wear a mask, no matter what stage of the pandemic we were in. Now, I was on the opposite end of that spectrum until, God, what was it like? Quite recently, about 4 weeks ago, and I think I feel like I was one of the last people to give up wearing masks. Not the very last, because there are still people wearing them.
I'm, on my personal social media and not on the band pages, I was pretty vocal against a lot of the restrictions and a lot of our response to what was going on. But I'm a guy that, I don't like medicine. I don't take drugs. I don't take prescription drugs. I really don't go to doctors. I stay healthy. I eat right. So getting the vaccine, that was a very personal, difficult choice for me. But because we want to work and because this is what you got to do, you go and do it, and you get it done, and you suck it up. I'm not one of them people that are, I'm not going to raise flags in the street and march around about it. You got to accept the status quo at some point. So did I like masks? Not a bit. Did I fight wearing it? No. When you go out and if they want you to put the mask on, put the mask on. I felt like it was a way to get back to normal if we just kind of played it out and seen what happened. So my personal opinions kind of sit on a shelf when it comes to that, because I wanted the world to just come back to normal. So they said wear a mask. Second they told me to take it off, I took it off.
Yeah. One drug you should make an exception for: Cowpole. You heard of Cowpole? I give it to my little boy.
No,
not at all.
It's
the most delicious drug you ever have. I call it, it's kind of very weak kind of cough syrup stuff, and it's just
all right.
the best drink ever. Well, I call it drink. It's best tasting drug ever, if you call it that.
Right on.
So Louis, I want to start at the very beginning. I want to find out, what was, this might sound like a very obvious question, and I think I might know the answer, but tell me a bit more about your inspiration into, getting into music, how you started out, and how you kind of got to where you are now.
Whew, probably not where a lot of people think. I grew up around music. Music was a part of our daily life as a child and growing up. My mother taught me how to play the drums when I was 5 years old. I learned piano from my aunt, Sister Mary Ann. She was a nun down here in New Orleans. Learned how to play piano in the first grade. And then, through life, you pick everything up. I tried the guitar, you try, the bass and some other instruments. And I really didn't pick up trumpet until the 8th grade in junior high when we had moved back to Vegas. This was the year my father passed away. Mm-hmm. And I played music all through high school, tried different instruments, and I just never felt like I was going to be that great at an instrument. There's a lot of reasons why. Motivation or, desire or practice was never one of the reasons why. I just never felt I was going to be the musical genius that I feel you have to be, or the genius or whatever trade you're in. You've got to be the master of what you're doing. My senior year in high school, my last year in school, though, I started sitting in with bands and actually singing. And, I knew I enjoyed it. I knew I felt I was good at it. Crowds seemed to enjoy what I was doing. But I graduated regular school and went on to college. And that I wanted to be a manager. I wanted to run businesses, whatever. And that was short-lived. I started putting the microphone in my hand a little more until speaking of drug, it is such a drug to be the front man and have that connection with the crowd and with people. It drove me, and I immediately went into rock and roll. I did rock and roll for 10 years. Really enjoyed it, fell that short of the elusive record deal, and kind of gave up on music for a while. Raised my family, got a day job, got a haircut, got a real job. And I went around. I actually had an AC/DC tribute band for a little while I was working, singing Bon Scott and things. And I just, you gravitate back towards music. It's what I love. It's what I love to do. And an
so you had a period,
opportunity
sorry to
came
stop
up.
you, Louis. So you had a period where you kind of
Sure.
moved away from music. Is that what you were saying? And you got like a normal.
Absolutely. Yes, I did. I had two young boys, and I got frustrated with music. So it was, I got a day job. I got into hospitality management, food and beverage, and did that until such time that the need to get back on stage just overtook me. But I'm a road guy, and I like to be on the road. And what I want to do in music doesn't afford me the opportunity to sit in one room and do it all night, every night to the same crowd. So I waited until my boys were old enough to take care of themselves when I was away. And I got back on the road in about 2004. And I don't want to say struggled a bit, but it was 6 years of finding my footing and wanting to not be a Louis Prima tribute band. I wanted to, we switched gears, and I was playing my father's style of music. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to take his style and move it forward and create new music. I'm a songwriter. I love to create music. I wanted to create new. I wanted to bring it to new fans and new people and younger generations and different places that may or may not have liked it. It's a brilliant form of music. I love horns. I love the energy of what we do. And I found like musicians to do that. And in about 2010, I quit the day job and headed out on the road permanently and haven't looked back.
Wow, fantastic. And do you ever have like times when you are kind of on the road and you miss those home comforts? You miss kind of the armchair, or you miss that certain brand of tea that is only kind of available in your local shop and you can't get it when you're out and you're in a different hotel. Are there home comforts like that you ever miss, or is the lifestyle of being on the road just way too goddamn exciting to you to even think about that?
I completely love the road. You absolutely miss your own bed. You miss your family, and you miss it. I think the when I miss it the most is when you're missing an event, a birthday or a holiday, or the birth of a friend's child, or that's when you miss it the most. But I love being on the road, man. There's nothing that compares to it for me. I love going to new places and playing for new people. You don't necessarily get to go play tourist. It is not glamorous. It's far from what people would probably believe the road is. You're lucky to sleep a few hours a night. You're lucky that you have any kind of real meal. But the thrill, and the excitement of hitting that stage for a new crowd every night in a new city, and those rare couple of hours where you get to go play tourist or a day off. I love it, man. I love being on the road. I don't see myself stopping until they tell me to stop.
Wow, fantastic. Do you know what, I'll be honest, I would love to kind of have that mindset, Louis. And I tell you why, like stand-up comedy has been something I've put off for a really, really long time. I've put it off for years, and I've started to kind of get into script writing, and I got something currently in consideration with the BBC, and I know that there's going to come a time where I'm going to have to get on the road. I'm going to have to do stand-up. Now the thought of being on stage in front of people, cracking jokes, I don't mind it actually. That I get a kick from. What puts me off is the travel, and kind of linked to that most recently the rise in petrol prices, or you called it gas,
Lord.
because man, I'm kind of thinking, okay, I could travel around Kent where I'm based, fine. I could go into London, and there's plenty of gigs there. But if I'm looking at anything anywhere else, it's like, how can I really justify the cost? Do you have similar kind of discussions, Louis?
We're in the middle of it really bad right now. I cannot believe how high gas prices are. And you come out of the pandemic, and we're working again, and the work is not as plentiful as it used to be, and the challenges of running a venue. A lot of people don't really know the big picture of everything that goes on. It's not just me and my microphone. It's my band, it's my support team, it's my production manager, it's my agents, the managers, the venues, all the way to the doorman at the venue. And there's so many challenges for everybody right now, and then you double the gas prices and you're doomed. We just had to cancel almost 2 weeks on the West Coast of the States, just because you can't afford to go do it. And people don't understand that, and we hope and pray that the venues understand that way. We don't lose a venue, but I don't think people understand that, we do this to make a living. And, and we love and cherish the fact that people pay money to come see us play. And if they're going to pay money to come see us play, we've got to be the best that we can be every single night. We've got to put on the show that we advertise or we promote. And, we have venues and people, everybody, it's a myriad of statements, well, just bring half the band. What am I going to do? Play to can't you just play to tracks? No, this is what we do. This is the show. And unfortunately, it is just a fortune right now to travel. It's the biggest headache in the business right now. There's a lot of yelling matches between our agents and my manager, and it just, fingers crossed that it comes down. But look, it's just another headache or another bit of the business that you've got to make sure that you've got the right people in the right place and people that trust you and that you trust. So everybody's working to a common goal. Is that going to keep me off the road? No, it's going to make it difficult. And I hope them prices come down. And if the prices don't come down, I'm going to have to raise my prices. And, then that's a whole nother conversation with people on why are you raising prices? Well, that's just the byproduct of the goods and services we use, prices going up. I can't, there's 12 of us on the road, and, that's 12 mouths to feed. And I always kind of rudely tell people, would you work for $50 today? I don't think so. It's tough. It is really tough.
Yeah, it sounds really tough. I've just noticed that we have like a Zoom countdown going on, Louis, which is about 5 minutes. So I might need to ask you just to log out and log in again when that timer runs out. We've got about 5 minutes before.
What happens? It logs off.
I think it logs us. It will log you off. I'll stay on the stream, but it will log you off. So you'll just need to dial in. And I hope
I'm not in the good story. I tend to not look at the screen.
Okay, cool. So the note of good stories, I would like to know if there are any gigs that you've done which really stand out in terms of like your best gigs, or maybe there's like one like best gig that you could really pinpoint. And I say that as someone who many years ago I used to be a DJ, and this is like going way back. And it turned into a big business, and I like managed DJs. Then it was an events company. Then I hated it, and I sold it. And that's always the way with my businesses. Yeah, I love it, and now I hate it. And now I'll sell it.
Yes.
And I'm just and there's one gig I'll never forget, and it was in this converted courthouse in London, I think called Brown's. And I was playing Guns N' Roses, and like the whole crowd were like cheering me on. And I got on top of this old judge's desk, like air guitaring. It was just the best gig I'd ever done. I'm just wondering if you have any moments like that, Louis, where you just kind of completely let yourself go, or the crowd is just like completely responsive, completely perfect, like a gig where everything it just is completely spot on that you completely love. Do you have any gigs like that?
There's been quite a few, and for different reasons. Obviously when I got to play in Sicily, that was something just near and dear to me, being able to my father was very proud of his Italian heritage and his Sicilian heritage, and he meant and still means so much to the Italian community here in the States, that being able to go over there and play, there could have been one person in the crowd. Thankfully there wasn't, but it was, that was truly amazing. And there's, the first time you play for, 11,000 people, that's truly awe-inspiring. And there's, I think for me though, the nights, there was a night, I want to say there's a place called Bolton Center. It's in Long Island, New York. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those rare nights when the entire band is just, every single moment is clicking. Every person in the band is 100% on for whatever reason. It's just jiving, and the crowd is nuts, and they're getting up out of their seats and they're dancing, even though there's no dance floor. And we had a little girl get on stage and dance with us. And it just, moments like that are incredible. I think you get hyper alert to your mistakes as a musician. I know, everybody in my band, I know we beat ourselves up on a regular basis, and instead of reveling in the show when you're back on the tour bus, it's 10 minutes of, my God, I blew that tonight. And that was one show. This was in about 20 I think it was 2018, and it was just one of those shows that everything just vibed, and you got off stage. And I mean, I don't think any of us really slept that much that night, just because it was just a perfect show. And then you get trumped. We played for the crew of Bacchus Mardi Gras ball this past February, and I don't know how many people were in there. Looked like 10,000. It just jam packed, all ages. It was just one of those shows where we're tired, we're a little out of shape because it's the gigs are few and far between, and we're not used to the grind yet. And I know everybody was tired, and it was an all day thing. I mean, we were there for setup at 10 in the morning because you can't get downtown New Orleans, and you're dead beat tired. And every single one of us, I know when I got home out cold, just because it was just that, when the crowd is as a part of the show as you are, I don't care what's going on. You just work harder, you play harder. And that's just my new favorite show was February Bacchus, Crew of Bacchus.
Great. Louis, I will just ask you to sign out and sign back in again, if you don't mind.
You got it.
Cool.
Fine.
And
I'm going to do that right now.
Okay, great.
And,
thank you very much.
I'll see you in 2 seconds.
I'll see you in 2 seconds. And while Louis does that, if you are watching this stream, then please do hit me up on the chat with any questions that you might have for Louis, and I'd be more than happy to put those forward to him. I need to close this chat so he can join back in. There we go. And we'll have Louis back any second now. But like I say, we are raising money for Richard's House, which is a fantastic children's hospice based in East London. If you would like to donate any money, please do scan the QR code in the corner. That will take you to the page where you can donate. And you can also follow the link, which is in the description, and that's another way for you to donate as well. Once again, if you do have any questions for Louis, please do put a donation along with that question, and I will pass that on to the man himself. And I think we are back up and running with Louis. I think I filled enough. There he is. And we're back. Can you hear me okay, Louis? Really hoping everything is good with the stream. Can you hear me? I think he's figuring something out.
Am I still on?
Okay, great. You back with us?
My speakers aren't working now. Hang on.
Okay.
Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
There you go. I got you.
Okay, great. Fantastic. So, Louis, we talked about your best ever gig. Now, I'm just wondering, is it possible to bomb as a musician? Like, do you ever have a gig where... Or have you had a gig where you just had major equipment failure, or the crowd would just... I don't know, you just had some funny types in the crowd? And I say that as someone who... I had a gig once where my speakers blew. And I tried to carry on because I didn't want to refund the client. If I'm honest, I didn't want to issue that refund. So I carried on with one horrible broken speaker. And then there was another gig where... there were, how can I put this? Travellers, we'll say the travelling community, and a fight broke out. So, which kind of made me pack up and run pretty quick. Have you been at the receiving end of anything like that, Louis?
There's a couple different ways to look at this. I think the most difficult thing for us, we're sponsored by Ultimate Ears Pro. We travel with all our own equipment now, and we use in-ear monitors. We don't have monitors on the stage. The stage is pretty quiet. The only thing really going on the stage is drums. And half the time we have a guitar amp, but it's all covered up and you can't really hear a lot on stage. So the oddest thing, we've played places that they want to set up a dance floor for people to dance. So the first seated person is about 30 feet from you and nobody gets up and dances. And when the crowd, when you break a song, you stop a song, I'm trying to remember where it was. And it was just a sit down crowd. It was the type of crowd that they were there for whatever event was going on, and they didn't care who was on stage. So the music would stop. We'd end the song and jumping off things, and you'd get.
Oh, no way.
But with the in-ears, you can't hear that. So it's just dead silence.
Oh,
and
wow.
then trying to get from song to song, and with the lights in your face, you can't see anybody, so it's literally like just dancing around on stage by yourself.
Mm.
You know, when we have equipment break, I mean, thank God, my production manager Donnie Palmer, he is our sound man as well, and that guy will troubleshoot things and get things working in a heartbeat. I'm telling you, he has more bad days than we do because he's got to deal with the equipment.
Mm.
And you lose your in-ears, and you got to take them out, and you fight through shows. But as long as the crowd is happening, you fight through. But I'm telling you what, until we started traveling with our own gear and the in-ears, you used to, for those that don't know what it is, it's called backline, where you show up and the venue provides the drum set, the microphones, and everything. We've had horror stories. There was literally a night that I was so aggravated with the sound man that the guy packed up his stuff and left in the middle of the show. You could see him putting on his backpack and leaving. And
what do you do? What did you do in that situation? Because you can't go on without a sound man unless one of you doubles as a sound man.
My man. Well, the problem is he didn't hit save on the board after our sound check. So when I got on stage, that's all I could hear was the kick drum and the girl that sings with me. I couldn't hear myself. I was wearing in-ears at the time, so trying to get him to fix it. And I threw rudely, I tossed my in-ears at him and tried to go with the monitors and couldn't go with the monitors. There was nothing in there. And my manager was present at the gig, and he ran over to the board and was just trying to do what he could. That's when I made the decision I called Donnie the next day and was like, all right, what's it going to take to get you on the road with me? And what do we need to do that this never happens? Because you have to go on. You can't stop the show, and you do your best to be entertaining, because the people out in the crowd, they don't care what's going on behind the scenes. They paid to see a show. So it does you no good to gripe and complain, or, you try your best not to be obvious that you're having a miserable time. And the show goes on, and you move forward. Thankfully those glitches are few and far between. We bought Donnie aboard and got our own gear in 2014, and it's been a pleasure. And I think it makes our show better for people when we don't have to worry as much that something might go wrong. So trust me, there's been some rough nights, but you plow through it. You do what you can.
Yeah, for sure. I remember once I was an event host before lockdown, and I did an event once with John Cleese on stage, and this was in London's Mayfair, and it was a Christmas light switch on event, and the client, in their infinite wisdom, didn't hire a sound person. So I had to kind of like manage John. I had to interview John Cleese on stage while kind of almost like running like laps around the stage while also managing the sound deck. It was a very, very stressful gig.
It definitely makes it miserable on your end. It's and like I said, you try your best not to let the crowd see that it's affecting you. But stuff out. Look, we were playing New Orleans Jazz Fest in, I believe it was 2014 or 2015, and the Donnie, our sound guy, he's got a microphone in his hand back by the soundboard so he can talk into my in-ears, and he goes, "They want us to end after this song," and I go, "What do you mean end? It's our third song. We've gotten into our third song." And he's like, "A storm is coming." What? And I'm like, "Okay, a storm is coming, right? All right, I'm going to keep playing." So I didn't stop, and I went into the next song, and lightning hit the ground about 10 feet behind Donnie, and it shut the whole place down. The speakers turned off, and lights came on. It's like, "Okay, we're leaving." I was like, "Oh, all right, guess the show's over." Look. It's it's a different business, you know,
Mm.
and what we're doing is a little bit more different because we actually play our instruments. I mean, God forbid, I can't imagine. Number one, I can't imagine singing to a MacBook or tracks, or you know, lip syncing to stuff. And I mean, I can't imagine doing that. But God forbid you're doing that and the computer breaks. What do you do?
Yeah,
You
you're
know,
screwed. Proper screwed.
you're screwed. But it's you know, it's something we fight through, and like I said, thankfully that's few and far between. We really do have a blast on the road and on stage, and you know, cross your fingers if something stupid doesn't happen. That's all.
Yeah, for sure. And what you got coming up, Louis? What kind of music can we expect from you soon? What tours have you got coming up?
Well, we're fighting to stay on the road. We've got a lot of gigs happening in the States, Midwest and the East Coast. We're unfortunately, I said at the end of May into June, we had to cancel 2 weeks worth of dates on the West Coast, and we're piecemealing things together for the rest of the year. We're just trying to stay on the road. The biggest thing we're trying to do is get our third album out. We're on Warrior Records, Universal Music Distribution. This will be our third album with Warrior Records, and we recorded this in Capitol Records, where my father recorded, and walked out of the studio after we finished recording, and the world shut down. Literally, I drove from Vegas to LA. I rode my motorcycle out there to finish up some of the vocal tracks, and I was the only guy on the road. And you know, we sat, Jim Irvin, the record label president, and I sat and talked for a while about what are we going to do. You know, you can't put an album out in that environment. Universal's policy and procedure won't allow it. You have to have tour support. You have to have X, Y, and Z. So we have sat on this music for 2 years. We did put out we recorded a Christmas song as a bonus track, and we put that out prior to the holidays this year. Did really well. Great little song. It's called Hey Skinny Santa. And we're chomping at the bit to get the rest done. I mean, we haven't even really mixed it yet. We're kind of in that process right now, and you know, looking at the news every day to see what's going to happen so we can put it out. Once we get that album out, you know, it's just another step in our progression. Our first album, we did predominantly Louis Prima songs, kind of as a jumping off point, because people want to hear my father's stuff, and I felt that what we recorded, people wanted to hear. Second album, we went originals. We did a couple covers. I got to do a duet with my dad on a song, thank you to technology.
Mm-hmm.
And the third album is all originals, except for there might be another duet with my dad, but I'm not allowed to say.
Awesome. Are you? Can you give us like a hint of what that track might sound like, or a clue? Do we have a clue?
I gotta keep it a secret for right now, because we haven't gotten the full permission from Capitol Records to actually use the song. I know we will, because they allowed it on the first album. So I got to keep it a secret because it is a big surprise. I think it's number one, it's a song absolutely everybody knows, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it, because it's not just me and my father this time. We've got my dad's sax man, Sammy Terra, is actually featured a little bit on it, as well as the whole band. Both bands get jamming at the end. I'm telling you, when I first heard it, after, you know, when I first heard the tracks, it gave you a chill. It's going to be a neat opportunity, but we're looking most forward to, you know, featuring the songs that we've written. You know, my band is like me. There's 4 of us in the band that are the primary songwriters, and we like to create, and that's why we do this, to create music that hopefully people will enjoy. And I'm chomping at the bit to get it out there and get back on the road in support of it. And we are also working on a Christmas tour. So we, you know, we did the Christmas song "Hey Skinny Santa," and we had a bunch of dates that were put into. We never really toured during the winter, but we had a bunch of dates in December because we're just trying to work. So we added a few more dates and did a little mini Christmas tour where we did our song. We did the couple of songs that my father did that were Christmas songs, and we did. We do a medley usually in the middle of our show where we just throw together whatever pop songs we feel like at that night, and we feature somebody else sing, and I'll get back on the drums and things. And we're going to do anything from the Stones to we've done the Ramones. We've done whatever we feel is going to be popular. And we put together just a bunch of Christmas songs that I think nobody really does. And I love them. And a lot of people I know love them. So we did like the Kinks' Father Christmas. We did the Waitresses Christmas Wrapping and a bunch of other obscure ones, and had a blast. So we decided we're going to put together a Christmas tour for 2022. We got our agents working on it right now. Hopefully get into some theaters and do a little Christmas package that we're looking forward to. And as always, working really, really hard to get back to Europe. We had about 2 weeks, we had 120 shows that canceled when the pandemic started. And about a dozen of them were in Europe. And we're trying to get those back. I know we have a lot of fans in Europe and in Australia as well, that we get asked almost every day. Somebody messages me and goes, well, when you coming back to England, when you coming back to here, where you coming back to there? We would love to. The challenges in getting 12 people over there and making it worth our while for, a string of dates is difficult. But we're pretty close to solidifying some dates so we can build on. We were hoping for October. I don't know if that's going to happen in October, but you never know. So that, coming up, getting back on the road and bringing music back to people, man. I'm chomping at the bit. The band is chomping at the bit, and we want to get the world back to order so that we can get back on the road.
Great, fantastic. We got a question in from Tron. Do you find it easier to play and tour out of New Orleans than it was from Vegas?
I do. It's a little bit of less driving. Most of our tours start in the Midwest or on the East Coast. Unfortunately, the West Coast financially is not very strong. I don't know how to politely say it, that they, the West Coast doesn't pay as much as they do out here. And there's a lot more work out here, so we can start a tour here. It's more centralized. So, so people understand our band is spread out from Los Angeles to New York, and we typically fly someplace. I drive the bus, believe it or not, because I hate to fly. And we get to the starting point. I get to the starting point, and then we're in the bus for however long that little mini tour is, and everybody flies home. So it does make it a bit easier because it's more centralized and there's more work in a close proximity, so you can minimize costs and make it more affordable for us to be on the road. But mostly I just love it down here. So
great. And if someone wants to check out your music, Louis, let's say someone's watching this who hasn't come across your music before, how can they check you out? Where can they go? Where can they purchase your music and tour tickets?
So it's louisprima.jr.com, Louis Prima Junior. I say Louis, it's pronounced Louis, but it's LouisPrimajr.com. It's a very simple website. It's got access to our music, our videos, and our tour dates, most importantly. And if you get on when you get down to the calendar, dead center at the top, there's a red button that says track. Hit that button, fill in some information, and you'll be notified when we're coming to your area. That way you don't miss a show, because you got to come see the live show, man. I got the greatest band in the world. If you get a chance, click on the opening page video on my website and take a look at what we do. It is nonstop freight train of energy. We don't talk a lot. We don't take a lot of breaks. And everybody on stage with me is a superstar entertainer in their own right. And it's, you can, you know what? Ask some friends, ask around, see somebody, talk to somebody that's seen us, and I guarantee they're going to tell you that it's one of the most entertaining shows that's out there, and well worth a visit, man. I guarantee you're going to leave smiling, that's for sure.
Cool. I think we could probably actually play the intro video in this stream. Give me 1 second, Louis, while I just set that up. I think all I need to do is to get the website in position. And let's see if this will work. I think it will. Should work. Yeah, there we go. There's the video.
You got to press on the center of it and the sound will come on.
Makes me holler. The way you jump, the way you swing. Come on and dance with me. Ah, if you want to go. Let's go. I said if you want to go, let's go. Let's go. If you want to go, let's go. Let's go. Come on and dance with me.
I can't hear the music. You say if it's on, I see it.
Come on and dance with me.
You might have to. Did you press on the middle? Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's fully playing. You might not be able to hear it through Zoom.
That's okay. If they can hear it, that's great, man.
They can hear it. Yeah, I think we're kind of, the shot right now is outside. The band is playing.
Yep.
Now we're back inside. This is Access Hollywood Live. A clip of you dancing there.
Yep.
Oh, you got some moves, Jesus.
We have a good time, man. Music, the music makes you move around. This is what we do, It's unorganized mayhem. It's a lot of fun. Everybody on stage is having a blast. Everybody's a showman. We encourage getting in your seat or getting up on your table and dancing, and we just want people to have a good time, because that's what live music should be, an escape from the world. It should be a chance to go and just let loose, and I think the brand of entertainment that we put out there is a lost art right now. I think too many bands, look at popular music right now. There's no bands on stage. The bands aren't entertaining. That's why you need 30 dancers and a brilliant light show. It's the rare opportunity that you get to go see a band that fully engages you, whether there's lights or not. And I am blessed and fortunate enough to have, people behind me every single night that have that same mindset as I do, and know how to put it out there.
Oh, that's brilliant. I'm just gonna pause that now. That was really nice, actually.
Yeah.
We were having like a running commentary while that video was playing. That worked really well. That worked really nicely. And you're so right as well. There's been like so many live gigs I've been to where the bands just rely on the effects, and it's just like another day in the office.
Yeah.
The most disappointing gig actually I ever saw was Red Hot Chili Peppers in Hyde Park years ago. Yeah, they sucked, and the reason why they sucked
that's such a shame.
They sucked so bad was it was just another day in the office.
I hate that.
Yeah. I think
but
there was,
I know I know exactly what you're saying, though, and it's unfortunate. Look, I opened up for the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I was third on a bill back on my rock days, and they. Unfortunately, bands phone it in, man. And you go, there's nothing worse than going to see somebody that you love, and halfway through the show you go, wow, I could have just stayed at home and looked at the album cover.
Yes, exactly, yeah. That was it.
and there are I don't even know when I know when it shifted in the early 90s. It shifted to where I don't know, the bands or the musicians, I don't know when they thought that the crowds were there for them. You know what? I'm there for the crowd. We're there to entertain you. It's our job to entertain you. And I think the music industry forgot it. And I think that's one of the biggest problems in the music industry. Look, no offense to the people that are the superstars that are out there making money right now, but it's not my brand of entertainment. I want to see a full band and a full show. And that doesn't mean 30 dancers and light shows and big giant props and wrecking balls. And no, get up there and perform. Do what you perform. You know, it's gone, man. When you think of Michael Jackson, and if you have not seen the documentary of the last tour when he passed away, with the working up to it and the rehearsals and the perfection and the entertainment that he provided while they still played and he still sang. And if you think of Prince, if you look at did the Rolling Stones ever sit on stage? Did AC/DC ever sit on stage? Go back and look at Bill Haley in the comments. Did they sit there on stage, or did they entertain? Did Louis Prima entertain? Absolutely. I can't say that about a lot of people nowadays. It's and it's unfortunate, because I'm a music fan. I love music. I love all kinds of music, and I'll go see any kind of music. But you better put on a show for me as well. And not a lot of that happening, unfortunately.
Yeah, so true. Louis, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for joining us. Please do wait there 1 second while I wrap, and I'll just come back to you after I finish the stream. But any final words?
It's been my pleasure. It's been my pleasure, and everybody, please click on the little button up there and give what you can. Get out and see some live music, and make sure you go to louisprimajr.com. It's going to direct you to all my social media and stuff, and we hope to see you on the road, man.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Louis. Stay right there. And thank you so much for watching. Please do like this video, leave us a comment below, and once again, subscribe to the channel. And until next time, take care, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.